Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he's got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union. And no, I'm not joined in studio by Piri Wipu because, funnily enough, he's late again. But I am joined by a good friend up north in the Big Smoke, Ben Searle of Searle Talk Sports. Searle, welcome along again, bro.
Yeah, good to be here after last week off. Apologies to Piri too. I probably stitched him up. I moved it forward half an hour, so he's partly to blame because he agreed to it, but he's also not fully to blame because I've played my role as well, mate. But you're here on time, as always.
Yeah, so what happened last week? Where were you? Busy working, were you? Just let the punters know. What happened?
Yeah, a bit of a hospital pass there from you, mate. You could call it working. It's networking, you know.
Yeah.
Nah, I got invited up to Tiare Links, a beautiful golf course up north. Never been there before. It's a bit out of my price bracket normally, but I was invited on by a member, which made it a bit more affordable. And yeah, what an unreal day. We got beautiful conditions. I've been told it gets pretty windy out there, but it was calm as, and yeah, it was a great debut. It's not something I'll get used to though, because I don't want to get my hopes up. I've gone back to my public course since then just to bring myself back down to earth.
Just for those listeners who don't know, Tiare Links is one of the premier golf courses in New Zealand. Just how far north of Auckland is Tiare?
It took us about an hour 10, an hour 20. It's like Mangawhai ways, so like beautiful part of the world. And after we played the South course, which apparently is the more picturesque of the two, so I got pretty lucky there. They alternate between each day as to what course you play. But after about the third or fourth hole, from then on out, you're just along the coastline, and it's beautiful. It's pretty overwhelming. Like from the moment you hop out, there's someone there ready to carry your bag and set you all up for it. And the first three holes, I got to say, Paulie, I was fully rattled, mate. I was so nervous. But once I started and sunk into it, it's actually not too bad of a course. And if you're a good golfer, a better golfer than me, then you can shoot a pretty reasonable score too. But yeah, it was more about the experience. The $25 espresso martinis are expensive, but I only had one and it was worth it. So yeah, glowing reviews from me, mate.
So a wee bit different from your normal public course, a bit of a culture shock, a significant change.
Yeah, when the espresso martinis are the same price as your 9-hole or 18-hole round at your public course, you know you're in for a good day. But no, it was a great experience. I'd love to do it again. It's peak time up there at the moment, which if you're not with a member makes it incredibly expensive. But it'll be a great lads golfing trip weekend if you're in a little syndicate or something, or you got a good group chat going on and you can tuck some money aside each week. It would be really good fun with a group of lads or a group of mates.
Do you get the espresso martini delivered on course, or was that did you enjoy that after the round was completed?
Yeah, we enjoyed that after. It was a quick one, just in and out, because the bloke who drove me up there was in a bit of a rush, so we had to get back. But yeah, still managed to enjoy one, which was good.
So you mentioned you got on because a member invited you. Who was the member?
Oh yeah, well he's not actually a member himself, but he managed to pull some strings. No, I got the last minute call up from now retired warrior Sean Johnson, who's been playing a fair bit of golf now. He's on a bit of a quest to get to scratch, so he's hitting the ball quite nicely. I was paired up with him. We took on two other mates, and it came down to the last hole. We were down by one, looking to tie her up, and unfortunately we couldn't do it. We split the last hole, so yeah, unfortunately we went down by one. But
one down.
He's playing some good golf at the moment. I've just got to get up to that level, you know.
Well, I do remember Sean Johnson taking part in Chasing the Fox last year, and he can hit the ball a long way.
Yeah, he certainly can. He's got a good short game on him too, so he's pretty all-rounder at the moment. Good bloke too, some good chat. So, it's not too serious. Can have a good laugh. I was actually with Ryan Fox yesterday ahead of chasing the
Really?
Fox too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him hitting a few balls, but what a bloke he is, eh? So down to earth. Like, you would never think he's one of New Zealand's top athletes just by, he's got so much time for everyone. He's a legend.
A good bloody Kiwi.
Yeah, absolutely. And his old man was there too. He's another good bloke as well. So, December 13th? Looking forward to that. I think me, you, and Carl are got a few gigs that day, don't we?
We're going to be very busy that day. We are. So, yep, it's a full-on day's work. The 13th, chasing the Fox. If you can make it up there,
Yeah.
What is it? Royal Auckland, the Grange. Grab a ticket. Look, there are going to be a few celebrities there. I'm not talking about Searle. I'm talking about a few other ones. I can't wait. I don't think Sean's playing this.
Nah.
I think he's got other commitments.
Yeah, so the Warriors are actually off on a bit of a promo trip to Las Vegas to promote that Vegas round. And of course, now with Sean not being a part of the team and the lads are deep in preseason, then SJ got the nod, which I'm sure he's not too heartbroken about. So that they've got some cool stuff on their schedule. But unfortunately, it means he's out of chasing the Fox. So I think it's Wade, Egan, Alan Goodenbill, and Dylan Walker looking to defend their title from last year. But just quietly, I mentioned to Foxy about the Warriors beating him. He wasn't too chuffed. He's keen to knuckle down over the next couple of weeks, and he's taking this one seriously. He wants his title back.
Excellent. That's good to hear. Well. That's it. He's super competitive on the course, but off the course, just a super, super nice guy. Easy to talk to. Just fantastic to have him overseas representing the country. He does a great, great job.
For sure.
We're on a rugby union podcast and we've mentioned rugby league and golf. We haven't really talked much about rugby union. So why don't we do that? Let's have a look back at last weekend. And of course, the All Blacks took on the Italians in Turin, the home of Juventus football. A very good crowd. It was a great atmosphere there. Very, very cold night. Looked very, very cold and challenging conditions. And I think some of the rugby actually reflected the fact that the ball looked a wee bit sort of slippery. The handling wasn't that good initially. There are a number of unforced errors from both teams. If you look at that test match, Searle, what's your take?
Yeah, I felt a little bit gutted for the boys just because I think that was a bit of a somber way to end the season in so many ways. It's one of those games, right? You want to get a fast start, but in conditions like that where the home side are so much more acclimatized to them, it can be difficult to do so. And once Italy got off to a pretty good start, they certainly sensed that they were well and truly in that game. And I think off the back of the last time we played them in the World Cup, where we almost put 100 points on, everyone like myself was expecting a cricket score. And games like that, as a player, no doubt can be so frustrating because you think you're going to have it all your way or in some degree. And as the game just ticks on, the minutes, they keep ticking by, you're not playing your best footy, the errors are creeping in. I can imagine it would be incredibly frustrating. So it was almost a bit of a down-buzzed way to finish the season after, yes, a loss to France, but we played some patches of really good footy. We looked good against Ireland. We bet England. It was like we had this momentum at the moment. So to kind of plateau out and still get the win, but with a performance that I'm sure no one was really that satisfied with, it was almost, a bit of an anticlimactic way to finish the season.
Yeah. Discipline was an issue again for the All Blacks, a couple of yellow cards. So it's difficult to build momentum when you've got a player sitting on the sideline for 20 minutes for this test match. Do you think, what do the All Blacks do to, I guess, rectify that? Because this isn't the first time this season that discipline has been a bit of an issue for the All Blacks.
Yeah, it's not. And I think against Ireland, we won the penalty count by a fair bit. And that had me thinking that we'd kind of rectified a few areas of our game there and fixed those problems. I think a few of those were frustration penalties too. But it's interesting, like, I love Anton. He's had a fair few yellow cards this year, right? Between him and Geordie Barrett, who, like, those two have probably split half the year's total, if not more. It's been mostly backs, to be fair. Caleb Clark's had a couple too. So, yeah, it's just little parts of the game. A few of them, like, you can argue either way, right, as to whether they should be cards, but that happens every week in rugby in general. But it's certainly an area that we need to improve on, especially against top 5, top 6 sides in the world who will make you pay for minutes where they have numerical advantages. Italy, of course, did it like they aren't at that level at the moment. But if we'd done that against, say, an Ireland where we actually won the penalty count that day, if we'd lost that and had guys in the bin, we would have been in a world of trouble.
First try, Cam Roigard, he looked very, very good. He's come back from that injury, a significant injury, and it's almost as if he hasn't missed a beat. He's one of the bright shining lights, along with a number of other All Blacks. But in terms of his play, were you impressed with how he went?
Yeah, it's crazy to think how long he was out injured for, and so often you see guys come back from injuries like that and they're a shell of themselves, but he's picked up where he left off, if not even better, and it's a testament to how good he is, how determined he is, how hard he's trained throughout this rehab period, which can be a really tough time as a professional athlete to stay focused and not get too down on things. And it's just so positive for the years to come. I think him and Cortez are going to be a heck of a duo for the next couple of years. And again, it just seems like he's always an 8 out of 10, and he's a great one for punters to have any time as well. I think he was paying, $7.50 for the first try on the weekend. But, man, his try scoring rate as a 9 has to be right up there with some of the best we've seen at international level, right? He's almost dotting down on every occasion now.
The bookies are going to have to react to that because usually there's a standard sort of price for a halfback to be the first try scorer. But as you say, his ability to dot down, and not just dot down, but dot down first, just seems to be going against that trend. So I'm sure that the value in him scoring the first try will disappear next season. I think the bookies will catch on to that. One thing the bookies didn't catch on to, or you could say they did, was the point start or the line in that test against the Italians, minus 28.5. They had to move it before kickoff. It moved to minus 30.5, I think, on the Thursday or the Friday before that test match. So I guess not just the bookies, but the greater public were thinking this will be quite an, I guess, possibly an easy sort of stroll for the All Blacks. But in the end, that didn't turn out. And you can sort of blame the conditions slightly, but there was a number of unforced errors by the All Blacks, which you wouldn't usually associate with an All Blacks team. So once again, there's a wee bit there for Scott Robertson to work on as they head into, to the break, but as they come out of that next season into the, I guess, the Rugby Championship. So what do you think Robertson will be working on over that period?
Yeah. It's a tough one, right? Because you look at the 3 weeks before it and there were so many positives, and it was like we were starting to implement that blueprint that we were going to play moving forward. And like you said, the line moved on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, once the team got named, because everyone saw that was a really strong 23 and Razor clearly wanted to finish the season on a high, and unfortunately didn't get the performance that the players on the team sheet would have suggested we would have got. So it is a bit of a frustrating finish for Razor. It was interesting to hear him again dive into that international eligibility clause, which he seems to make a point of bringing up every so often, despite Damian McKenzie being named as the 10 for the Dream Team when he's not our starting 10 at the moment. So I have no doubt he brings it up because he wants Richie Mo'unga. That's the guy who he's going after, and maybe he thinks that's the missing piece just to get that fully polished performance that we're after. Still plenty of positives from the All Blacks this year, despite losing 4 games, but I do think that that final performance will leave a bit of a rock under the towel over the summer, because if we'd put 70 or 80 on them, it would have just been talk of how successful this Northern Tour was. to come away with just the one loss to a really good France side at home isn't disgraceful at all. But it would have been nice just to put a big exclamation mark on this, because now people will just be like, I'm sure the performance will get swept under the rug because it's Italy and we won. But yeah, it wasn't what we had hoped.
I'm glad you bring that up, the fact that Scott Robertson is planting the seed. In fact, he started planting the seed, I think, before he actually became All Black coach. He just wanted to see if there was I guess, a direction from the New Zealand Rugby Union that, hey, this is something we're keen to have a look at, or happy to have a look at. He keeps bringing up the fact that the South Africans do it this way. They've got players in the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere at home, and they are still very, very successful. I guess in terms of the New Zealand Rugby Union, they'll be concerned about the domestic competition getting watered down by a mass exodus of eligible All Blacks to either Japan or the Northern Hemisphere, to the UK, to France. So is that a concern for you as well, Searle?
I think it is, but there's ways around it, I believe, right? Like South Africa, when you look at them, they're a great reference point for Razor because they've been the best team by far over the last 2 World Cup cycles, or at least in World Cup years in those cycles, they've really pulled it together and got results. So they're a great carrot for him to dangle, to be like, if they're doing it, then why can't we? I do think there would need to be a number around it, though. We saw Aussie with that Ghetto rule, which was 60 tests. I think they've since changed it to 30 now. And 30 is a decent knock. I think it's 30 tests or 5 years at Super Rugby before you go overseas. I see Richie Mo'unga's at 56 tests, so Razor will want it to be under that 60 test mark, that's for sure. But I think if you chuck a Richie and maybe a Shannon Frizzell in there, then those would probably be the 2 that he'd be going after. When you look at it, it's not a crazy amount of players that he's after. He's just after those 1 or 2 guys. So yes, we might lose some young talent overseas, but realistically, how many of them are going to kick on and be All Blacks? It's more about, like you said, diluting that provincial competition. At the same time, though, I still think that lure will be there to hit that certain amount of games before you go, just to make yourself eligible, because I think the black jersey still holds so much power amongst players. Like, we've seen it with guys like Sean Stevenson and that, who are right on the fringe. Many are saying they should have been in there over the last couple of years. Has had 1 game, but still he's here and pushing for it, despite perhaps being 5th or 6th down the pecking order, which I think right there is a great example of how much it still means to these guys.
So if the rugby union decided to, okay, we will allow you to select players from overseas, however, they have to have played X amount of either tests for the All Blacks or Super Rugby games for a New Zealand franchise, what would that number be for you? What's that sort of sweet spot, that middle ground where, okay, if you've played X tests or X games for a New Zealand Super Rugby franchise, where does that sort of, I guess, middle ground lie for you?
I guess, well, we played 14 games this year, didn't we? And we won 10 of them. So if you're getting through 14 tests a year, it's got to be around that 30 to 40 mark, right? Where you're in the All Blacks for 3 or 4 years and you're getting through a decent amount of games. So for me, I think it is around that 30 to 40. And I don't mind that 5-year Super Rugby rule either. So I think the Aussies have got it about right after they tinkered with it. I think 60 was a little bit too high because you really start to get down to just a certain number of individuals then. I think one thing that could be cool as well, and it wouldn't affect things too drastically, is allowing Kiwi players that are playing in Aussie Super Rugby teams to be eligible as well. Then that opens up opportunities for guys to go over there, live life on the Gold Coast or wherever, perhaps get paid more over there too because they would be marquee signings. But they're still in our competition of Super Rugby. We're still watching them every week and they're still taking on New Zealand teams. I think that is something that could incentivise players to hang around a little more as well. You're still in the same competition as the lads, but you get to experience something a bit different overseas for a bit as well.
I like what you're saying there I like what you're saying there because if you do expand it to Aussie Super Rugby teams as well, first of all, we get a greater range of players getting regular top class football, and it probably raises the quality of the Super Rugby competition all round as well. So it seems like a win-win, because I think at times those Australian franchises struggle to put together a top class 15 or a top class 23 every single week. And when they pick up an injury or two, then it really starts to hit them hard. Well, here we are. Who would have thought? It's good friend Piri Wipu. Oh, welcome aboard, Piri. Searle was just saying, late again, eh?
Oh, here we go.
I wasn't saying that.
We know
Paul.
Searle would never say that. We know that you would say that.
I took accountability for moving it forward half an hour. So actually, you're pretty much on time, Piri, for normal starts. So.
It's perfectly fine. I didn't think I would have had to deal with the kids that much this morning, but I had to.
Well, we were just talking about a subject, and I'd like to get your take on it. Back when you were playing Super Rugby, if you had the opportunity to go overseas after you had played a certain amount of games of Super Rugby or a certain amount of tests for the All Blacks and still be eligible for selection for the All Blacks, even if you moved up to the UK or France or Japan, whatever, would you have gone? Would you have gone for a year or a season or two, knowing that you were still eligible for the All Blacks?
If it was a sabbatical, like I know Desi had a sabbatical, Ma'a had a sabbatical, but not if they're going over there for
like just packing up, going.
Yeah.
So you don't.
If that's a sabbatical, which I know some players do that, they'll go over there, play in the competition, and then I think, especially in Japan, they'll come back either at the back end of Super Rugby, just before their international window.
But Artie's just been over to Japan just recently, so we're talking about it because Scott Robertson keeps on sort of bringing up the subject that South Africa have players all around the world who are eligible to be selected for the Springboks, and he's quite keen for the same reasoning for the All Blacks. Probably, and Searle named Richie Mo'unga. He's probably the number one reason why he wants that rule changed. Are you? Where do you sit? Do you think it's a good idea, or would you'd like to see things just continue as they are?
I reckon continue as they are. There's also England are exactly the same. Some of those English boys go over to France and they don't get selected. And so I think it for us. I think it for us looking forward. What does that say to the people that are here? If those guys are going over there for a 2-year stint, yeah, they might be able to get the chance to come back, but. If they're going over there, they're not wanting to come back. They're pretty much wanting to stay there, enjoy the lifestyle of wherever they go to, get a feel of what the rugby's like. But there's no intention of them coming back. The only people that want them to come back have been people that think that we don't have enough depth in those positions. So the likes of Richard Mo'unga, who's been playing outstanding over in Japan. Even Nuggy's been playing pretty mean over in Japan as well. But it's time for us just to actually focus on where we needed a development on certain positions, i.e. first 5-8. Moving forward, I know we've got stocks coming through, but they're not quite at the same level that we want them at. So it's how we can sort of develop them to make sure that they are international candidates.
Righty-ho. Just back on the Italian test match, it was a bit of a messy game from the All Blacks. Once again, ill discipline came into it. A couple of players get the yellow card. just what were your thoughts on that game overall?
I only watched half of it. I was out on the golf course. Timing was impeccable. The organisers, thanks, Jason Eden. But the parts that I did watch, like it, I wouldn't say it was just ill discipline. Obviously, a lot of eyes have actually been on referees this year, especially on this Northern Tour, around penalties that everyone's getting confused around. Not only that, there's the breakdown area that's getting, I don't know, it seems like it's getting worse and worse. So that yellow card that we had from our skip, I don't even think that should have been a yellow card at all, which has been a big talking point for not just this game on the weekend, but every game for the last 4 weeks around the ruling. But I think I thought we did all right. I still think our attack might have, whether we purposely attacked the way we did or whether we just didn't quite get our combinations right, timing right. I thought we still created opportunities. We just didn't quite finish them. It was the same against France. You know, we created opportunities, but it was that sort of that last pass or pass that didn't go to hand that allowed them to get back in the game. But I think everyone was wanting the scoreline to be a blowout. Just because of the last game on the tour. Sometimes if it's the last game on the tour, everyone's like, I just want to go home. I know that feeling. I remember that feeling. Oh. So I just want to go home now. It's been too long.
Let's just get the win, get out of here and get on the plane.
I think it's just because it's a long season. Like if you're going Super Rugby, the international window, if you play a bit of NPC and then this India tour, that's a whole season of footy.
And we're not even mentioning pre-season training.
Yeah, well, it's starting like next month, right? But not for these guys, but still, like, I don't think people realize, like, these guys' bodies will be screwed right now. So, yeah, I'm sure they're looking forward to the Christmas break.
That's why I always come back a few kilos heavy, because I'm just I'm over it. I've spent a whole year of playing footy, doing fitness, gym. Just need to sit down and relax and enjoy like everyone else would when they get their holidays.
So over the Christmas holiday break, when you used to have your Christmas holiday break, what was your, I guess, guilty pleasure? What was the one thing you really look forward to over that break in terms of food?
Just food.
Anything?
I wouldn't say a tight regime or like a super healthy diet, but when you're not training,
the calories are going in, but you're not expending them like you usually would. So when you play, like in the middle of a season, would you have takeaways or?
Yeah, we have game after games.
Yeah,
that was sort of our time to treat ourselves. So after the game, me and the boys would go to a few places, get a few burgers, combos.
Oh, sweet. Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that because I do that all the time.
But not after games, though. Not after games. That's the difference.
Is that after every round of golf?
Just when you Oh, gee, luckily I haven't been playing that much. In fact, how did your golf go last weekend with the boys? Was it up Naki Way?
Yeah, it was actually my crew or my group was myself, Jace, Neil, and Isaiah Toiava. We finished fourth.
Who was
I don't know. I felt like we probably should have been a bit further up in the rankings because Isaiah Toiava can hit a freaking ball, and I honestly never thought that he knew how to play golf. The way he was talking it up, first tee off, he's like snap hook. Straight away, just keep driving, bro. Don't worry about your ball. And then once we got away from everyone, he was putting pretty much everything down the middle. And I'm like, bro, what have you been up to? So it was a huge shock to me. It was like, because he lived with me when he was down with the Hurricanes. And he goes, how long have you been playing golf? I was like, From when we were playing you, Dork. Every other time I asked you guys to come, you always brush me off. And now he's taking it up. It's quite funny. A lot of the boys now, once they've hung up the boots, they've taken to golf. And throughout our career, you ask them on our days off, oh, we're going to go for a round. Are you keen? You get the nah, not keen. And then all of a sudden, hang the boots up. Oh, what are you up to? I'm at golf. Oh, nah, sweet. Didn't want to come. Thanks for the invite. Must be broken. Hang on, I'll just check my phone. Yeah, no, not working.
Well, yeah, oh well. Searle couldn't make it to Taranaki, but he had to go and play Te Arai Links. So,
Tough.
yeah, just a wee bit different from where were you fellas playing? Where was it? Motu or was it? Right. And who? What group finished first?
Oh, who was it? It was Scotty Island. Was Jason Spice in that team? I feel like it was rigged. There definitely had to be an investigation. But the beauty of it, because it was just obviously first time pulling this whole has-been invitational together.
Has been invitational.
With the winners had to throw one down the guzzle as their winning prize.
Oh, no.
Thank goodness I didn't, because I don't drink.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I hope your golf skills are up because at the beginning of the podcast, myself and Searle were talking about chasing the fox, and you're in the TAB team.
Yeah.
You, Jeff Wilson, and Phyllis Metty. So I'll let you know if you're not playing well. I will let you know.
Oh, it's a bit like you're betting. We will let you know that you're picking the wrong winger, and then you'll get back up in the positives.
Go, Alex.
Yeah, there we go.
Righty,
20 years too
we're gone off course again. Oh boy, and we're probably going over a wee bit of time. So let's look back on this season, in particular, the All Blacks season, and can you give me a rating for the All Blacks overall, the Rugby Championship, the Northern Tour, the All Blacks, from an A plus to an F minus? Where do you rank them, Searle?
Geez, I went out of 10, so I'm going to have to scramble here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go a B, and it would have been higher if we'd bet Argentina. That one for me hurts the most out of all the losses. You can cop like close games against South Africa where we probably should have won, and the French game, again, another one we probably should have won, but those are two sides that you're happy to lose to on the road, or not happy to, but you can cop that. I think Argentina at home was the toughest one to swallow, so I think if we'd ticked that box, would have been closer to that A mark, but for me, it's a solid B just because of, the years of guys like Wallace, Cam Roygaard, these young boys coming through, the farewell for TJ and Sammy Kane. You throw in that Leon McDonald drama, which got swept under the rug, but it happened, and no doubt it was a disruption for the team too. So I think to walk away 10 out of 14 wins, you'll take that, with 3 of the losses being against South Africa and France.
Piri, your rating? Searle gives the All Blacks a B for the season. You?
Maybe a B plus.
Oh,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Paulie's going to go low, I can tell.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
I think if the 2 South African games, they played pretty well. They were just unfortunate that they didn't quite finish the game. This Northern Tour, I've felt that I guess the biggest one was definitely Ireland on this tour, because obviously they wanted a bit of redemption and from the World Cup, and at the time they were ranked number 1 in the world, so you always want to beat the people at the top of the table, of the ladder, I should say. And then obviously France, take away those errors, they had nothing in it. It was only our basic areas that sort of let them back into the game, which allowed them to gain the momentum. I think if had it gone to hand, I think we might have been all good. So yeah, I think it's been a pretty good season for Razor and the team. A good farewell for like Shirley said, for TJ and Sammy. And to be fair, Sammy probably didn't even think he was going to be back in the international arena, and then finally gets his 100th cap, which made it even
Very special.
Hard out. So you'll probably say a B plus. I think that Argentina game, I think might have if the boys had prepped a bit better, it might have been a different story.
I'm going to go C minus. And that's only because I think the All Blacks are still they're still the high mark in terms of World Rugby for me. So 10 out of 14, I think, is just, you could argue it's about average where you think they should be. I think it's slightly below. I think if they'd picked up 11 or 11 wins, then you probably call that a C or a C plus, and then 12, 13, 14, then we're talking about B plus A, something like that.
I think we had them as in that 12 to 13 bracket for our bets, didn't we, Paulie? So
I'm looking at them right now, and I can tell you none of us had any success with our season bets. But you're right, you had the All Blacks to win 12 or 13 tests over the season at 275, or the All Blacks to win exactly 12 test matches at $5. So unfortunately, they weren't successful, or none of us were successful. I don't think Piri was here the day we did that, because I've got Goldie's name next to the season markets, and he had Rico Ioane to be top try scorer for the season, Cody Taylor to be top try scorer for the season, All Blacks undefeated, and All Blacks to win exactly 12 tests. So no good there. And I was no good as well. I had Rico, top try scorer, All Blacks undefeated, All Black 13 wins, All Black 14. So, yeah, terrible. No good.
I wonder what 10 wins was paying, because that probably would have been quite juicy, right? People would have been going over that number for sure.
I think the sweet spot might have been 11 or 12 wins. So we're probably looking at 10 wins exactly. I'd say probably around $7.50, $8 probably. But yeah, it's only because the All Blacks have set such a high bar for themselves is the reason that I'm giving them a C minus. Because usually, well, I think the rugby public expect them to perform at that high level all the time. And you can't just do that. New coach, obviously. There is a few players moving on. So I think we'll get a better idea of just where this All Blacks team is next season, when Razor's had a good off season and more time to sort of stamp his mark on.
What's an off season for Razor? Being he's not in any super rugby franchises.
No, but I'm talking about now he can, so the players will get an idea of how he wants the game to go, and he'll be able to, I guess, did the All Black coaches ever talk to you during the Super Rugby comp, or did they pass messages on to the Super Rugby coaches to pass on to you?
They'd come in once or twice during the season, and you have one-on-ones and things like that. And
by one-on-ones, you mean like meetings, not run it straight, say?
Yeah. No, I think I'll chance my arm with definitely would lose when it come to talking, because he's always going to have the last say, or Steve Hansen. But no, he probably should have charged me and put me on. But yeah, just we'd have a meeting with them, and they'll just ask how we're tracking or how we're going and things like that. And then you're sort of just sitting there going, yeah, just give it to me, mate. I need to know what you're thinking. And then they'll just let you know what you need to work on, what stuff they've enjoyed you doing to continue working on it. And then hopefully you hit those sort of goals that they want you to get. Well, they're not goals that, I mean, the small targets, try and for us to try and make sure that we get better at the areas of concern for them, and just chip away at it, hoping that we, by the end of the season, we've done exactly what they've asked us to do, and we get the nod to be a part of the team again.
Beauty. Right.
Here's one for you.
Well,
If we have the same season this year with the team,
look, you're doing
for
the All
next
Blacks.
year,
Yeah.
does your ranking go down?
Yes. Because there's been no improvement.
What if there has been improvement, but just not consistencies?
Well, that's not good enough. That's not good enough for mine. I'm old school.
We can tell.
Searle, your All Black of the year?
I think it has to be Wallace, right? There's a few other players it could be as well, because some guys had some great seasons. But I think for me, Wallace, just the impact he's had on the team, he looks so settled. He looks like he's been there for years. Looks like a guy who's going to be an integral part of this team and the leadership group as well for many years to come. I thought he could have been really close to that Dream 15 that went around the other day. Obviously won World Rugby's Breakthrough Player of the Year for the men's, but yeah, he must have been close to wearing that 6 jersey for them. And then you factor in that that's not even his preferred position, that he's playing out of position because he's normally an 8. I think he's been our biggest bright spot this year in terms of a player that when he was selected, many people questioned, but now he's one of the first names on the team sheet.
For you, Piri, your All Black of the year?
I'd probably say Tyrell. I just think that his in the
inside job.
I just think that from when I was running around, our forwards would be, especially our front row, would be pulled way earlier. He's been putting in long minutes on the international circuit arena for this year, and definitely deserves a break. But I just think that he's grown as a player from what he used to be, and I obviously he's a big part of the engine room for the ABs. But that's just my thought. If I was going to pick it back, I'd Caleb Clark.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. I'm agreeing with Piri. Tyrell Lomax was my pick too. That scrum wasn't really defeated when he was on the field. He was just absolutely, he was a rock. And Searle brought up the Dream 15 for the year. Funnily enough, he's in that front row along with a couple of South Africans. So it just goes to show that his efforts have been noticed by World Rugby as well. I agree. He's been really, really good. And I agree with you on Caleb Clark as well, because what was it? It was only like 12, 18 months ago. He was on the outside looking in sort of thing. He wasn't one of the first 2 wingers that was selected, but now you could argue that he's the first winger selected. He's just been so good, makes very few errors, almost always busts the first tackle, and makes the right decision more often than not, and very good in the air as well. So, crikey, I'm agreeing with Piri. What a crazy way to finish the year. I know, this is just...
Well, it's been happening all season with the betting. Like, it's either you're either listening to me or you're listening to Searle.
Well...
I don't think there's been many chances of you picking your own bets.
The numbers would suggest that is not what's happening.
Paulie, you're a great example of one good week can make a whole year.
Exactly.
Your AB's Rookie of the Year? I guess it's the same player almost for you, Searle.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I really enjoyed what Cortez did for the majority of the season too. Shot into that starting 9 role, or played his way into that when Roy Gard was out there, and I think he's had a great year. He's not a rookie, but I think the development of Tamaiti Williams this year has been massive too. And in years gone by, with this whole De Groot situation, which happened over the last couple of weeks, he would have been a massive loss. But I think Tamaiti showed that his development this year at the international level, like he's a genuine starting world-class prop now. So it's great for us to have that depth there. His fitness levels have gone up through the roof. His work at set piece has been massive too. So I wanted to give him a bit of a shout out. And Tupou Vaa'i as well, who, again, not a rookie, but someone who was probably like a fringe, battling to make the 23. And up until the last maybe 2 weeks, he was one of our best forwards. So, yeah, a couple big improvers there who aren't rookies. But, yeah, Wallace for me.
Piri, your rookie of the year. We going Wallace.
Oh, obviously, he's the obvious one. It's either him or Cortez. I've just enjoyed, what he's done. Great, given an opportunity, and made the most of it. So, yeah, probably Wallace and Cortez for me.
Beauty. Yeah, I think Wallace Atiti. He's the absolute standout. And as Searle mentioned, he's been playing out of position most of the time for the All Blacks and hasn't looked like he's missed a beat. He's looked very, very good. He's got a huge career ahead of him. So speaking of careers, we saw the end of a couple of careers, Searle, TJ Perenara and Sam Cane. If you look back on their careers, obviously, they've been very long careers for both of them. They've both had to come back from adversity and done that very, very well. So it was a nice way to send both of them off in Italy on the weekend.
Yeah, two of the greats. And I think at various times throughout their career, they probably haven't got the recognition that they deserved. And they've been a bit underappreciated just because of players we've had before them or around them that have worn that jersey. And for some reason, we try hold everyone to that same pedestal. But both of them have had outstanding careers. They've achieved so much. They're just both two great All Blacks that I think in maybe 3 or 4 years' time, they'll probably get more of the credit they deserve in hindsight than what they got a lot of the time as it was unfolding in front of us. And it was really cool. Like Piri said before, I'm not sure if Sam Cane expected this. And in many ways, I'm not sure if TJ did as well, because our halfback stocks are really strong. But it just shows that both of them were great assets to this team. And I think without Sam Cane and the 7 jersey this year, a lot of these games could have been different outcomes, because that bloke's a workhorse and he was still our best 7 for the majority of the year. So, yeah, well done to them both. I hope they make plenty of coin in Japan and enjoy that lifestyle, because they've certainly deserved it.
Pity for you. And what about TJ? Was he an understudy to you for any amount of time at the Hurricanes, or was there a few years gap between you and him? Did you were in the same squad ever?
No, but we did sort of spend a bit of time trying to catch up and help out and things like that. But yeah, I think he sort of got introduced into professionalism. Well, he was actually pretty professional beforehand. He was at college bloody, looking bloody shredded already.
Taught you a thing or two,
Yeah.
The old apprentice was giving the master tips.
Rugby league park and making poached eggs, and I'm thinking, Jesus, I don't think I was that young learning how to.
What about the bacon?
Bloody hell! But I think for TJ, for his career here in New Zealand has been massive for him and his whānau. Obviously, now he gets the opportunity to go abroad and experience the lifestyle and the footy overseas. It's been awesome to see him grow as a player and as a person as well. He's been a great leader on and off the field, and I think he's done a great job in every jersey that he's worn throughout his career in New Zealand. Same with Sammy. Sammy's probably had a better finish to his career than some of these. Only one player, Omani, that he tried to pawn off as a cheap version of Richie, mate. Sammy was the man. Obviously touted to be the replacement for Richie, and I don't think he under-delivered in that. I thought he was a a great advocate for as captain for our national team. But not only that, his work ethic was very similar to that of Richie. Probably didn't know the rules as good as Richie, but still did.
Or how to manipulate them, you mean?
Yeah. But I mean, he was awesome in his leadership. Obviously, was amazing, and for him to finally get a farewell song on his own terms was awesome.
Very, very big shoes to fill when he came into the All Black squad, Sam Cane. So for him to last so long and to perform at such a high level over that period was just fantastic to see. Wish them both all the best from their retirement from Test match rugby. And I hope they go on to lots more successes. Let's have a look at the world rankings as we wrap up the pick and go for another season. And the top 5 at the moment: South Africa, 92.78, Ireland, 90.78, New Zealand, 90.09, France, 88.08, and Argentina, 85.40. Shirley, how would you rank? The top 5, they sort of work themselves out, to be fair. I think the 3 rugby championship teams are in there. Are you happy? Would you have someone from outside that top 5 jump in? Would you rearrange that order slightly?
I would rearrange that order slightly. I think off the back of current form right now, South Africa 1, maybe France 2, us 3, Ireland 4. But again, it's the start of their international window, so it's always hard to judge. But I think based off what we've seen the last couple of weeks, that's probably where I'd have it at the moment. The team I would have in 5th is Scotland. I would be chucking them in that 5th spot. I think they're in a great position at the moment. On their day, their backline is as good as any in world rugby. They've got some big, hard-working forwards, and with Finn Russell at the helm, I think they're a really good team. I'd love to see them up against RG's just for that 5th spot. That would be a good watch. But full credit to Argentina. I feel like every year I underestimate them, and they just go about their work, playing at a different brand of footy at the moment, but it's really enjoyable to watch, and they're a good team. So they deserve to be in that top 5. I just think Scotland are a really good side, but maybe it's because Finn Russell's probably my favourite 10 to watch, so I'm a bit biased there.
But maybe if the Aussies got that Edmed fella in the Wallabies, they might jump up a level or two. He played very, very well for North Harbour, although they didn't make the playoffs. Anyway.
What that was like? Was that one last parting shot? Because that was so unnecessary. Edmed's not even on the bench at the moment, but you found a way to bring him in and then take a shot at the mighty Harbour Heat, who just got bonus points aplenty this year, lads. Like, we were playing entertaining footy, bums on seats. Yes, the wins didn't come, but sometimes life's about bonus points.
Hey, you're tagging both. It's him.
Yeah,
not me.
Sorry, Piri. You probably would have won the punting comp too if you hadn't followed me in on Harbour so often. I brainwashed you, so I apologise for that.
I think it's because he was going for Taka more than anything.
Yeah. Geez, you've had a bad year, Paulie. A good year, but you've had some controversial calls in favour. Taka beat us in the semi and Harbour didn't make the playoffs. So yeah, you've probably come out on top of this year's battle, mate.
The top 5 world rankings, Piri, any changes for you? South Africa, I think.
No,
they deserve to be at the top there.
Exactly.
I do agree with Searle. I think the French probably deserve to be at number 2, All Blacks at number 3, Ireland at number 4. And I don't mind Argentina being there at 5, but I can understand Searle's argument for Scotland. And I'll put my hand up. Totally got it wrong last week in terms of the Wallabies against Scotland. I thought the Wallabies were huge value. They were lucky to get as close as they did to Scotland. Scotland totally outplayed them in that test match. They look very, very good, as Searle say. They've got a big bunch of forwards. They've got a back line that looks like it's going to get better and better the more they play together. So I'm very, very interested to see how they go in the Six Nations. But for you, that top 5 world rankings?
Probably that, and just keep Argentina. And obviously Argentina, over the years, No one's actually seen what they're capable of. I think now that they've been involved in the championship, and then obviously they were part of Super Rugby. I think that everyone's just been giving them more and more opportunities to play a different style of footy than we're used to. Obviously they played more northern hemisphere teams as opposed to the southern, and now that they're playing, in the championship, I feel like they've actually just grown as a nation in terms of the rugby. Obviously, a lot of their international boys are playing over in the UK or in Europe, but still showing good flair. And I think Contepomi's actually done a pretty good job with them in terms of the style of footy that he wants them to play, but without sort of overdoing it because we do know that they're really good around. They were strong around set piece. They've been struggling the last couple of years, but I think they could be heading back in the right direction in that department. But yeah, I think Argentina probably deserve to be in that fifth position for me.
Righty-ho. Let's just have a look at the last week of punting that we did, and it was a terrible week for all concerned.
I would have lost too if I was involved, so I'm happy to put my hand up there.
Pity had Argentina to win 1-12, no good. Then he had a multi, South Africa 13 and over, All Blacks 13 and over, Spain to win, Romania to win, Australia to win. So
because they were $2.
No good there. And I just had Australia to win into All Blacks minus 28.5. That was no good. So Pity finishes the season minus $318.10. Searle, who didn't have a bet last week, finishes at minus $82.10. And I finished the season $932.52 up.
Righty.
Alrighty. Any hunches for the off season? Any sort of looking forward to something happening next year, Searle?
Jeepers. I don't think we've heard the end of this international stuff, that's for sure. So that'll be an interesting situation to monitor because it seems like Razor's going to bring it up whenever he gets a chance. I think Richie will be back for 26 anyway, but I think he'll continue to push that case. Chiefs are going to win Super Rugby. Speed didn't go to the Blues, which means that the Warriors, AFC, and the Breakers are all going to win their respective comps because he stopped by their bases yesterday. That's about it. There's 3 for you.
Jeez.
Any hunches on how halfbacks are going to go next season, or what are you going to?
No, I was just going to say Canes are going to win Super Rugby.
Ooh. Without Artie.
Broncos are going to have a better season than they did this year.
Are we talking Brisbane?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Cool.
I think the Wars might be coming back into the team that they were last year.
Ooh.
For next year. And am I coming back next year?
As in to play or to do the... I was like, is this an out of retirement?
Are we coming back for the podcast next year?
What have you heard?
Is that? I have no idea.
I thought we just had a Sean Johnson moment and he's back, baby.
No way. I just mean to the podcast.
Well, I'm hoping I'm back for the podcast too. I'm hoping Searle's back. And I'd just like to thank both of you for being here for most of the year. Also to Jeff Goldie Wilson, to Blake Ashford, who I think helped out for a few episodes, to Carl Tiley, who was here, I think he was here 1 week.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I can't remember. Did we have anyone else on the show?
No, it was just me and him. Or him and I should say.
I think Izzy did a couple, but once the Crusaders were shitty,
Izzy, yeah. So. Our good man, Izzy. Yeah, so thanks to everyone for coming along. What are you up to over the Christmas New Year period, Searle?
Just a bit of time up north with the family. Pretty chilled stuff. Obviously got Vegas with the Wars in Feb, so I'll keep that for my party time and just try lay low, mate. But you left yourself off there in the thank yous, mate. You know, you're always the skipper leading the show around, leading us off in random directions, which means we run out of time every week. But we love your work, Paulie, and well done on the win, as much as it hurts to say. You did have a good year, and you deserve that recognition. But please edit this out of the podcast because I don't want it to be on record.
Yeah, don't add that on the socials when you do it later.
Vegas, have you got a spare seat, Vegas?
Well, I assumed you'd be there, mate. Or do you mean for Piri? Absolutely, we can pull some strings.
Well, he'll probably be in Japan again.
Yeah, true.
Him, Ma'a, and Nemia.
The trio.
Funny you say that, potentially going back next year.
So what are you up to over the Christmas, New Year period, Piri?
Just a bit of hunting, fishing, diving, training my kids, trying to keep up with them as well with training, camping, more camping.
Where do you go camping?
Foxland Beach.
Oh, yeah. Oh, have you got, when you say camping, have you got like a batch up there and you camp on the backyard?
No, tent at the top. It's not top 10 anymore, but
Oh, yes.
at the campsite there.
Yep.
Pitch the tent up and let the kids run rampant, meet new neighbours.
Nice little golf course there.
Well, I haven't been going. I've only more recently been taking the clubs with me, so my brother's missing out on the clubs over Christmas, so I'm taking them with me.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
But, yeah, there's actually a pretty cool little community that shows up around that time, right, between Christmas, New Year's, and all that. And a few of them reached out and were like, "Oh, bro, bring the golf club." So
Yeah.
first thing to go in after the tent.
I'm pretty sure Tuna will be up there. You know Tuna? No, you will.
Where are you going with this, mate?
No, yeah, he loves golf.
I was going to say this is a joke waiting to happen.
He loves golf and he's got a batch up Foxton way.
The old tuna who, and then he's got some joke coming off the back of that.
No honeydew going on here.
No
Don't worry
juice,
about it.
No honey juice. And then my family get together in the new year, do a bit of camping. There's obviously cabins and all that at Brookfield, but me and my cousins and all that take our tents and pitch them up so the kids can run rampant.
Beautiful.
It's actually the family one's pretty crack up. We always have a women's golf day and it's carnage.
Are you a caddy for that?
All the males that go along are caddies and also bartenders. We pretty much just laugh at all my cousins, my aunties, my mum, everyone that wants to come and jump on the bandwagon with my
Your daughters? Do your daughters play any golf?
No, they're not old enough to.
Oh, okay.
They can hang out with them and have a laugh, but
Right.
we usually just organise for, or some of the males that stay behind organise to do activities at the campsite with the kids
Beautiful. Nice.
without throwing them in the pool.
I like it.
But yeah.
Well, hopefully we get some good weather over the summer period. So our golf handicaps can start coming down like that before winter hits, and then they start going back up like that because you don't get the roll down the fairway anymore. Stuck. Thanks to all you guys too for tuning in, listening to the Pick and Go. I hope. What?
Maybe we should do it. Put it to a vote. You guys should vote for us to come back.
No,
Come
on. No, I'm concerned.
Yeah, we might not get the votes, mate.
No votes.
Yeah, true.
No votes.
Oh, we could just rig it like there was rumours of the US ones a few years back. We could mess with the polls.
Yeah, surely someone or Searle knows someone who's really good with computers, and they can like set up a whole lot of bots to vote for us.
I've got a few people that are in the IT.
Couple hackers.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks to everyone for tuning in. I'm fairly certain we'll all be back next year for the start of the Super Rugby season. We might even do a bit of a preview for all of the New Zealand squads as we get closer to the start of the Super Rugby season. But everyone out there, have a great Christmas, have a safe, happy New Year, and we'll see you, hopefully, fingers crossed, next season on the Pick and Go.